I am here today with Shauna from Serendipity Winery, and I'm going to let her introduce herself to you guys.
Hello, my name is Shauna White. I'm the winemaker here at Serendipity Winery in Naramata BC, and we are going to have some fun today.
So tell me what serendipity means.
Well, in my words, serendipity is that magical moment where everything comes together for you unexpectedly or unknowingly.
So let's go over our hot topic of 2024. How are your vines?
Well, we're one of the lucky ones. As you can see here, this is our Viognier. We're just happy to have growth. We're really pleased to see that they've come back to life. We have growth from up top. We are leaving a renewal at the bottom right now, and that's just a security measure. In case we do have any trunk collapse or we do have any arm collapse, then at least we'll have a reserve so that going into next year we can retrain from the bottom.
Okay.
So that's why you'll see the green and the new little shoots coming from the bottom right now. The insurance policy for us. We've learned a few things over the last couple of years with the tough winters.
Yeah.
But luckily for us last year, we didn't get hit nearly as bad as a lot of places did. So
That's good.
our Pinot Noir is doing quite well. Viognier is doing well. Cab Franc's doing well. Sauv Blanc is doing pretty good. It's pretty good. But up top of our vineyard, our Merlot and our Syrah, which are the most winter sensitive, and they suffered. So we're doing a lot of retraining up there. But we do still have life. So we're not ripping out like a lot of places are considering or have to do for their place. So Serendipity's kind of like lucky in our little valley that we have here. We got saved.
Yay! What about grapes? Are you expecting anything for grapes and wine production at this point?
So yes. Yay, I'm going to make some Pinot Noir this year.
Yay!
Not sure the plan. We'll see how the season goes. It's been so long and cool. We might do a rosé with it. We might do sparkling with it. We might make a choice like that rather than trying to push the vines all the way to red wine. But if everything turns out okay and the vines are looking real happy, then maybe we'll do a red wine. So we're open with our options right now.
Yeah. Let's show everybody your grapes that are coming up.
So this is our Pinot Noir. As you can see, most of it's reaching to the top wire now, and we've gone through and done our shoot thinning phase already and chosen our suckers. Everything's nicely tucked. So this is the most progress that we've seen in the last week. Up until the last week, with all the cool weather we had, everything was really slow going. We're starting to see flowering now in the Pinot, so once flowered, fruit set happens, and I'll get really excited for some grapes.
So how do you manage all your vines? What is the process that you have to do pretty much throughout the entire year before you're harvesting?
All right, this is a great question. Fully loaded question, let me tell you. So we start with our pruning. We do our pruning later in the season, actually. We do it in February and March. So we like to do a later prune. It extends the dormancy of the vine a little bit. And what that helps us with is avoid any frost. So if they get pruned real early, they want to come out real early. If you prune them a little later, they'll delay a little longer, and that helps us mitigate some of those frost concerns that we have in the spring. So starting out with pruning, for our red grapes, we do spur pruning. And spur pruning means you leave a long, old cordon like this and just chop back every year. So it's almost like having a trunk on the wire.
Okay.
It's called a cordon, but so after we do pruning and we choose what we want to leave behind, the next step is coming through and doing shoot thinning. So when the vines are about, I don't know, what's this, a foot and a half tall, that's when we come through and select which ones we want to keep and which ones we want to remove. This allows airflow. This allows concentration, so the vine's focusing its energy on the shoots that we select. And that also helps us to get better ripening, sunlight, and energy into the grapes themselves. So shoot thinning is a really important step. We do it all by hand. After shoot thinning, then we do our tucking in between the wires and get everything trained to grow straight, and we shoot position as we go. So we want to see everything nice and straight. We want to hand between each shoot coming up for that airflow I spoke of earlier. And we want to keep everything upright, straight, growing nice and tall.
Okay.
When we do our hedging, which is cutting the tips off, we want to delay that as long as possible too. So if you delay your hedging, what it can help with is it helps the vine to think, okay, now I want to put my energy into my grapes. I don't want to put my energy into my growth of my shoots anymore. I want to focus on getting these grapes ripe and flavorful and delicious with sugar. If you start hedging too early, what happens is the vine decides it's not ready to put energy into grapes yet, and it'll just keep growing. So now you're hedging again every 2 weeks or every month or every so often to keep the vines actually at that level. So we try to delay as long as possible, but sometimes, the things go crazy and you got to do it early, and then you end up hedging 2 times or 3 times in the season if you must.
Okay.
So,
okay.
yeah.
Awesome.
So after the hedging happens, we do leaf pulling, also by hand. We do a leaf pulling on our north-facing side mostly, and just a light on the south-facing where the sun's hitting it.
Relief pulling?
Yeah.
What is that?
I can show you. So right around where the grapes are, we pull the leaves like this to open it up, let the sunlight in, let them see what's going on, and also helps my sprays to penetrate, get in there, and really protect the vines and the berries themselves when the leaves aren't there to block the spray from entering.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll do a leaf block on, this is the north side of this plant, will be like that. The other side, it'll be a little lighter because we don't want sunburn, we don't want to cook the berries, but we do want that airflow and the spray penetration to be able to get through.
And so what kind of sprays do you use, since we're on that subject?
Well, I come from an organic background. The last 2 wineries that I worked at were both certified organic.
Mm-hmm.
So most of my knowledge is in organic treatment of vines and sprays. So we use a lot of certified organic stuff. And it's been really great in the vineyard and in the Okanagan with the dry weather. They respond really well. So mildews are the big one. Mildews are something, powdery mildew especially, is something you really got to keep an eye on and keep on top of.
Mm-hmm.
And botrytis is another one that you want to kind of keep an eye on too. But I haven't seen much botrytis since I've been here, which is only 2 years.
Okay.
And everyone's like, what's a typical year like in BC? And no one can tell me. So there hasn't been a typical growing season out here for the last 12
Guess
years.
it's just different
told.
every year.
So roll with the punches.
Never know what you're going to get.
And keep on learning as you go, right?
Yeah. What about like sustainability practices? What are you guys doing in your vineyard?
So we use mushroom compost.
Okay.
And mushroom compost is how we're regenerating our soil. We also do some foliar sprays for nutrients for the vine. We do soil testing about every 5 years just to check on what's going on and make sure we're up to speed. But Judy, when she planted the vineyard, she did huge analysis on the soils, and she knows every specific type and has planted each grape for the type of soil that she has on this property. And so because of that, the vines are doing very well in the locations where they are, but also they don't need as much attention or, as much fertilizer to keep them going because they're happy with their rootstocks and happy in their soil type. And so we treat every block a little bit differently, but the concept is the same.
Tell us a little bit about your winemaking process, like what happens when the grapes come from the vineyard into the press and the crusher and then come in here. What's your process?
Okay, so we'll start with a white grape. We'll say the Sauvignon Blanc. We pick our Sauvignon Blanc and then we bring it over to our crush pad with the tractor. From there, the Sauvignon Blanc gets tipped into the crusher destemmer with a forklift. And we actually destem all the fruit and crush the berries. Then we let it skin soak. So we do a skin soak. Some years it'll be, 2-hour skin soak. Some years it might be overnight, 12-hour skin soak. Deciding on the flavors that we want to extract, the health of the grapes. And if it's a clean year, if the fruit's clean, or if, you've got to do a lot of sorting, then maybe you wouldn't want to crush too many of those grapes up and extract those flavors from anything that got missed in the sorting process. We give a little squishy squish, and we pump from our press into our stainless steel tanks.
Okay.
They come in here and they chill out. They get really nice and cold. We settle them all out to get just the clean juice, and anything else that's left behind will stay in the tank, and the clean juice we will wrap off the top to a new tank.
Okay.
So Blanc is done in a really fresh, really food-friendly style. So once it's been wrapped off of the sediment from its cooling, it goes into a new tank, and we warm it up. Fermentation temperature is really critical for white wines, and it can really help you either extract or not extract certain flavors in the process. So we like to ferment ours around 12 to 14 degrees Celsius. Nice and cool, long, slow ferment, helps hold those aromatics in. So we do add yeast, commercial yeast, and you can buy organic commercial yeast too. You can buy non-organic, and we have a little bit of both because I have some favorites, and our owner Judy has some favorites.
Okay.
So we have a little bit of both of those in the cellar as options.
Yeah.
Doing a dry style, we like to have less than 3 grams. Sometimes we like to have less than 1 gram if we can of residual sugar. So very extra dry style, and that's to pair with foods and be more food friendly. When we harvest our red wines, same thing, hand harvest, and then hand sorted. And then they go into the pressure destemmer too. And we take all the stems off and just leave the berry skin, seeds, juice. Those go into tank like this, or we also have little fermenters for small batch stuff. So they're just little square fermenting bins. So if we want to keep something separate and do something small, then it'll go into that. If we're doing a big batch, then it goes into the tank.
Okay.
And then it cold soaks. We like to do a cold soak. It helps to extract color and helps to get tannins and anthocyanins move into the cold soak's done. We add our yeast, and they ferment on their skins with all their flesh and seeds and berries and everything else in the fermenter. Once we have all the extraction we wanted from those skins and berries, then we say, okay, now you go into the press. It gets pressed off. It's already wine. It's done its ferment. Comes into a tank, settles a little bit, and then we put it down to barrel the next day. Our reds are aged for a minimum of 3 years in barrel and up to 5 years in barrel. So that's twice or 3 times as long as most places. That's Judy's stylistic approach. That's how she likes to showcase our vineyard, and she likes everyone to drink the wine when it's ready to drink. You'll never hear her say, take this home and put it in your cellar. She'll do that hard work in cellaring for you.
Gotcha.
You come here, you buy the wine, it's ready to drink. I mean, you can age it longer. But
how long could your red wines potentially age for? I know it depends on the variety too, but what would you say?
Well, right now
for like your Pinot Noir, let's talk about that Pinot Noir. That's beautifully growing outside right now.
So right now we're selling our 2017 Pinot Noir.
Okay.
And for our top Bordeaux blend, we're selling our 2013. So there's a range from 2013 to 2017 for our reds, and we will only release them when they're ready for the public to drink. So we get to have some fun and taste through some bottles and see how they're going and make that decision as a team.
Okay, wine tasting time.
The best time. So I'm going to start you ladies off, and myself, of course, with some bubbles.
All right.
This is our traditional method of sparkling. It's called Sparkling Truth, and it is a blend of Chardonnay and Pinot Noir.
What's your favorite wine to drink? Like what kind?
Oh, I love to start with bubbles, especially when it's a beautiful summer day like today. Cleans your palate, freshens it up, gets it ready for food, gets you salivating, and it's nice to have in the sun on the patio just on its own too, right?
Yes.
So love to start with bubbles. And then after that, it depends what I'm eating.
Well, cheers to that.
Cheers.
Very easy sipper for sure. That is good. I'm not always huge on bubbles, but this is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I know I like bubbles, but this is really nice. What year is it?
2015.
Oh. How long can you age bubbles for?
Oh, because they have CO2 in there, you could age them as long as the cork will hold.
Okay.
The cork will probably break down before the wine. The
Okay.
CO2 protecting it from oxidation,
Yeah.
keeping all that freshness in there. So
Okay.
it's probably
Cool.
one of the most ageable wines out there, sparkling. I've also brought Pinot Noir. So I thought a white and a red was to start for us today.
A lot of Pinot Noir talk today, so
We've been
seems
talking
appropriate.
Pinot all day, so it's our 2017. This was barrel aged for 3 years in French oak, and then bottle aged
Look at that nice light
until
color.
last year.
It's really pretty. Very light. Tastes like a patio drinker as well, to be honest. I think you could drink a lot of that, no problem.
Absolutely.
They're just so
That's a really
complex,
nice,
it's hard to,
easy drinking Pinot Noir.
that's what I mean. It's like go down really easily.
The balance of the fruit and
Like
the oak
slightly
This is
chilled on the
yummy.
patio.
I like it, yeah.
These are both good. I'm gonna do this
Cheers
one
to behind
first.
BC wine.
It is.